because, or if Bob was just not good stuff to see what he knows.
Like, what do you want me to do? Do you want me to roll and then ask questions about? I don't know. What do I actually know about secondhand vampire stuff? Nothing. I as a person don't know nothing.
Have you completely forgotten how to play the game?
Stuff.
So
I never asked Bob.
Yeah.
I lost internet.
Okay.
And I dropped out, and I switched over to my phone, so that shouldn't be happening anymore tonight.
Cool.
And I just started recording again, and I come back, and you guys, Bob is withholding information? I miss what's going on.
Okay. What happened is, I'll break it down for you. Elijah is asking Sylvan what he knows about vampires, and Bob, rather than even talk about asking the GM, "Hey, what do I know about vampires?" is just "No, I'm not telling you." And it's been really funny.
I asked him, "What do you want to know?"
Yeah, you asked him, but you didn't ask the GM. What do I know about?
That's fantastic.
Right.
You asked me what I want to know about vampires, and
said everything.
And then you said everything, and then I said, "I'm not going to sit here and do that."
No, he said everything you know.
Right? Anything your book says, just read it aloud.
Just read it aloud.
So now I'm not sure if Sylvan's intention here is just, I know things about vampires, but I'm not telling you. I didn't bother to ask the GM what I know about vampires.
I think it's both.
Well, make up your mind and let's get on with it.
I'm okay with either.
I don't think Sylvan would... I think he would be more willing to answer questions you have specifically, but he wouldn't sit down and explain every little thing about a vampire to you.
Do you know everything about a vampire anyway? That's the biggest assumption that you know that much.
My book has a whole section related, of the 5 sections it has a whole thing on vampires. Vampires is one of its categories.
Okay.
So it's got a lot of information on vampires.
How about the important stuff? How about you just start with anything?
Alright, so should I roll fire and figure out the important stuff? And then I'll tell him the important...
I mean, you can make it up. Just tell him crap at this point. This is great.
This is your core, man.
This is funny.
It'd be really funny if you roll shit.
I want to roll to figure out the important stuff as how to fight vampires and what they're interested in doing and how they might relate to the members of my party.
I don't think anyone's related to vampires.
Well,
unless Elijah has a baby with them.
Or, do vampires specifically like fucking beasts? I don't know.
Yeah,
they really like beast blood? I don't know.
There you go.
Right?
See,
that's what I'm doing. That's what I'm doing right now. I'm gonna roll, and then I want to know these things.
Yep, that's how you play the game.
There we go.
What am I rolling? Am I rolling in occult?
Yes. With your book.
And then I get.
Are you doing this? Are you doing this real quick? You doing your supercharged book thing?
You need to get a train or a bus cab to where this guy is. Maybe you can do it in the cab. 20-minute ride.
Yeah, we will need a ride.
Yeah, I guess I will need to do it real fast if I'm doing it in a cab ride.
Well, we don't know how long we need to travel to get to.
Yeah.
To get to Delaclaire's office yet. So.
Yeah, I don't know where Clarence.
The GM would tell us.
I'm gonna do it real fast in a cab ride. So yes, I will supercharge it.
New.
Oh my god. Hey, guy with book that knows things, tell me stuff. No. Okay.
Alright, so...
I love how Bob just, forgot how to play the game.
Book gives me... +3. And then that is 8. When I get informed.
Hey, nice.
Don't need to be informed. I'm dramatically already there.
Good job.
All right.
So, questions I specifically was looking for. I want to know if vampires are specifically interested in any of the races in my party. If like they interact weirdly with beasts, or like the beast blood is special to them, or Promethean blood is something special to them, stuff like that. And then I want to know how I'm supposed to fight them, and then what I can expect from combat ability from them.
I want to know if they. I want to know if they sleep and if they drink.
Drink. They sleep and they drink.
That's what I want.
All right, let's start at the beginning. Special blood things. I'm glad you asked this because I didn't have the chance that I wanted to go through the second edition book either. But I've always been fond of the ruling that the different supernatural blood types do have sort of at least a subtle effect on the vampires. Because in a lot of the original lore and things like that in the Masquerade, vampires drink the blood of like drunk or high people in order to experience those effects because they can't do it themselves. So to me, it also kind of makes sense that a little bit of your supernatural flavor would be carried in your life essence, and so your blood would be tinged in the same kind of way. So even if it's only like a certain type of high, or it kind of gets you like mage drunk, it at least has that kind of effect, if not more potent. So let's narrow that down to your party. Your book, 5 successes, exceptional success. Mage blood can be particularly useful to certain vampires and perhaps even sought after, but it seems to be more relevant, as far as your book knows, to the type of powers that the vampire is using. The blood can enhance certain categories of abilities, usually the ones that are already kind of closely tied to magic and performing mystical or outrageous feats. It can kind of boost those effects. Otherwise, mages aren't just like this highly sought after blood type. It's more of a specialist kind of preference. There's a few documented rare instances. As far as beasts and created are pretty rare. So you will garner the information that there is a lot of speculation. You would suspect that beast blood probably has an influence similar to that, relative to powers that invoke that same general theme, like fear or shadows and darkness and that kind of stuff. As for the created, that information is so rare. Really, it's just undocumented.
Okay.
Like we were kind of thrown around out of character. We don't even necessarily know that, Echo doesn't have like blood.
And the other types don't have blood at all, so.
Yeah, so it's like, probably not.
Probably not interested in all. Got it.
Probably not interested in all. Probably couldn't feed in any kind of way, has no use for the blood. Next question was what kind of powers? And I would just have to offhand say that, like, that is a very big list. Commonly,
Okay,
most
common
vampires
types
can.
of vampire. Well, I was gonna go with common types of vampires in Chicago. That list might be
Types of vampires.
less big.
Well, there isn't like a native Chicago tribe, so technically they all come from the old world anyway. Well, or they're born here, but either way, like the bloodlines and stuff. And actually, I do believe like the newer edition focuses less on your blood lineage and a little bit more about you individually.
So it's just a complete crapshoot about what ability vampire.
Yeah, but commonly using the power of blood, they can be very fast, very strong, heal very quickly, influence creatures, sentient creatures, animals, and people alike mentally. And there are a wide variety of confirmed special powers that special clans or bloodlines of vampires have. Whether that's like manipulating fire or raising the dead, or it's as flavored and as varied as all the different forms of magic.
It sounds very unfortunate that my path is a common power type of the vampires, thus my blood might be more relevant to them than others.
That should actually be perhaps a concern.
You're a smack to vampires.
So, because that could be a very real threat. Perhaps maybe there are many mentally manipulative and dominating vampire types within the city. There almost have to be. And they would perhaps be seeking you out for a blood source if they knew how much stronger you could make them. Perhaps in part ignorance protects you. That and their inability to, find you unless you out yourself.
Hear that?
The boogeyman in the closet got bigger. Feels bad, man.
Be a douchebag, and I'm gonna tell my vampire girlfriend.
Take Sylvan down to the Crimson Virgin basement. Start selling Mind Mage margaritas.
A new meaning to 50 Shades of Grey?
50 Shades of Red.
Ooh, you got there before me.
Yes.
Did my music stop for you guys too?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Because I tried to play something and it broke. Let's do this. There we go.
Vampires sleep. Vampires dream.
Oh, okay. Typically they sleep during the day. It's less about an exhaustion thing as like a compulsion. Like the gravity of daylight weighs upon them. And so physically, mentally, they just find it easier to kind of slumber it away.
Anything about dreaming?
Yeah, they dream. Maybe not all the time, but if you just ask the question, yes or no, it's possible for vampires to dream.
Okay.
Are there special stipulations on how they sleep? Like bullshit of like having to sleep with grave dirt or...
For most vampires, no. Because of your exceptional success, I will tell you that is known to be a requirement of a particular bloodline or clan known as the Tzimisce. But they are very special. Or very rare. And nothing like it's entirely possible they don't exist in second edition, but that's fine. We'll make them up because I love them.
Because second edition can suck at some.
I loved all the
He
varied
said-
clans and stuff in their lore.
Too bad they waste all the good vampire lore.
Threw Kate out the door.
Fighting vampires? Did you get that information yet?
You said fighting?
Yeah, I think it's what he said, right? He asked about
Like
it.
how
Yeah,
to fight them?
How to fight them? Yeah.
Best way.
Like many supernatural creatures, if you would shoot a person once, shoot the vampire twice.
They have a weakness like werewolves and silver.
Yes, cutting their head off.
Okay.
I mean, it works.
Staking the heart, for all academic purposes, seems to be pretty effective as well. Although that runs with a long checklist and boxes of animals that are also staked in the heart and die. So,
Yeah.
coincidental
sticking you in the
or
heart.
specific, it's hard to tell.
Beheading is also known to be effective in most things with the head.
Right. Sunlight's pretty effective as well, I'm sure.
Oh yeah, that would be their biggest weakness is sunlight.
The unconquered sun.
You Forces 5 yet? Can you create sunlight?
Forces.
Can I create sunlight? No.
Yeah, you gotta be like
Can
four,
you
4 or 5.
Can you store sunlight in a bottle and release it when you want to?
Are these blade vampires? Is it UV lights?
Don't think so. But I can make fire.
I mean, that's
So
scary.
can
I
I.
don't think that's quite the same thing.
I have a lighter.
A Zippo. All right, so we're going to see the.
I can make fire.
My bad,
Wink,
caveman.
wink.
Yeah.
We're going to see the lawyer, right?
Yes. Yes, we are.
Taking the train to. What is this?
I broke it.
Oh no.
Where'd it break?
What did you break?
Okay. I gave you an address and I was looking for Clarence and I can't find it. So I just used the card because it was convenient, and we're just gonna put him down there. And so he's a little bit southeast of you guys. Still, as usual, the L is so convenient.
It's a handy fucking train line, tell you what.
It's probably the intention. Not for
Oh, the subway's a red line.
For storytellers.
Mhm.
Well, we're heading there.
Okay. So, what did I... Let me pull the card. It's at the underway station. Okay. Right.
Underway station.
Yep, you guys are supernaturally inclined enough, being a part of the world, the supernatural world, to know that in Chicago, when somebody talks about the underways, it's not something like a normal person says or talks about in Chicago. It's usually a supernatural type, and it's someone talking about all, like some of the hidden infrastructure underneath Chicago. All the subway tunnels that were abandoned, during the time of the war, and, a lot of the sunken city. So, in general, there's a lot of understructure to Chicago that the
The secret
day-to-day
side of
people,
Chicago.
they ignore. They live on top of it, and they don't utilize it, especially not during this time period. And so it's kind of an open reign to supernatural.
The dark secret under the city.
So you find this station, easily enough with the card provided. And you see markers. They take you down into a undertunnel. And you see, not quite like, large flashing arrows, but maybe in some sort of supernatural, telltale underway sign. They point the direction. And it's not too far off of the surface path. Maybe 100 yards into tunnels. That you come into a larger sort of subway chamber underground. And the first thing that kind of lets you know that you've come upon a place is the stench. You would swear that this particular subsection must intersect somehow with the city's sewer system. And so here a tunnel kind of pans out. It opens up into a chamber. The ceiling is only about 7 feet, from high. But the room opens up about 20 feet across, and it's about 30 or 40 feet deep. And there's a couple of small tunnels like leading off out of this chamber, different from the way that you came. You entered through the single most direct and larger tunnel. And as you come upon this chamber, there is an odd assortment of gatherings. There are file cabinets, a desk, a couple of wooden chairs. There is a lamp on the desk, an oil lamp, and there's even, it looks like a cable has been roughly nailed to the ceiling and works its way across the chamber room, and there hangs a small electrical light that is currently on and flickering, illuminating dimly in the underground. This area is dimly lit at best. Who can see in the dark? Elijah.
Echo can.
Elijah can.
Let's do the group thing.
If it's dark, I would cast night vision.
Okay.
Echo just sees in the dark now. Pretty
Jasper
handy.
too? Can you all see in the dark? Is that what you're going to do? Yeah, alright. Sure. Alright then. Not so much hiding, but maybe just obscured. There's an individual behind a few file cabinets and a pile of boxes. You can't really tell what he's doing, but Echo, and you spawn him out. You see him. He's not really moving around a lot, and you wouldn't be surprised that the others miss him. He's kind of inconspicuous, and in the darkness, he just looks like this hunched over, dark form facing away from you and knelt down behind the box and debris.
Excuse me, would you be Miss Delaclaire?
Hold on. The rest of you suddenly become aware of the presence of this figure as he begins to call out and move quite a bit more from behind the file cabinets and boxes. And then you hear this odd crunch. It's the squeaking of a small creature, a rodent, and then a ghastly sort of crunch.
Nice.
And after a moment, the figure wanders into the dim light closer to where you can see him. He's going to be distant for a bit. So, I want to reuse the image for Vincent. But
He hasn't changed much, has he?
I suppose take the narrative for the full flavor. This wretch of a man before you stands as a twisted version of a former self. He is well dressed, as one can be in the undertunnels of Chicago, clad in a black suit. His pale skin appears clammy and loose. His brownish hair is apparently falling out by the handful. His mouth is full of black and yellow teeth, and the man radiates a stench like severely aged sewage. He stumbles around with an apparent limp and a terribly hunched posture.
Vintage sewage.
Vintage sewage.
Aged in concrete tunnels, sure.
He looks really old.
It's ripe and prime.
Yeah, he's
It's impossible.
he's that type of vampire.
He's that type of vampire. Poor ugly things.
Nosferatu, right?
Yeah.
Not that Echo knows, but I do.
He says, you are with the Gimbals, right? Here for the Gimbals paperwork.
I'm sorry.
No.
Lady Inesco sent us?
Oh, yes. Yeah, he seems almost to head off in one direction towards some file cabinets, and then he quickly turns about on his limp and heads back over towards the desk. There he strikes up the oil lamp and begins to go through the desk. Oh yes, that's a terrible business. The lady coming into possession of a red spot.
I'm led to believe it is quite a serious omen. Accusation, perhaps?
Typically. There have been a long list of red spots, I'm afraid, dealt out in the history of our people. And not so long a list of those who survive.
I see. It's, quite an office you have down here.
I do what I can. Scavenged, mostly. Let's see, I've got it around here somewhere. Here we go. He produces a vanilla-ish, envelope, a stack of papers, and hands it to the closest person.
It's Sylvan this time, calling you out.
I'll take it.
Jasper steps up and takes it.
How do you open it with your one hand?
Left hand. I grab it with my teeth. Rip it over with the other.
Oh man.
Wow.
That's just funny.
This guy doesn't smell like blood on the dot, does he?
Oh, no.
Okay.
Not at all. In fact, you were quite happy
No.
to say you have never smelled this guy before. And will be quite glad not to again.
Yeah.
The less you smell him, the better.
Got it.
In fact, this particular signature of scent may haunt you.
You'll never get rid of it. It's gonna follow you all the days of your life.
That's not how it works.
Sure it is. It is for this one.
Yeah, you'll find your mind wandering, just thinking of the times and events and adventures you've had, and your mind will rest on good old De Claire and the sewers of under Chicago, and and that stench will hit you.
Like a wrecking ball.
Or a burp that smells like a rotten egg.
Alright, so what's in the notes?
Okay, well, Jasper fumbles with one hand.
I'll help you, Jasper. I'll help you.
And produces a list of papers, profiles. Oh, Blue X.
That's way out there. Clarence Avenue. Huh.
Modern Chicago. Yeah, it was a modern Chicago thing. Well, that makes sense, because that's when I made the card.
Mm-hmm.
Oh well, we're keeping it. Okay, looking through it, yeah, there's no pictures. There's some names, and there's just some information. There are, let's see. Look through my notes, make sure I don't misinform you. 5 individuals listed here, little mini dossiers. Deluclair goes on. He says, that's all the information that I thought might be helpful in weeding out this predator. It's hard to say, but over the last few decades, Miss Ionesco has actually been on quite good behavior. She's only had a few relationships that turned sour.
Do you expect then that this grudge might be held by someone for long past incidents?
If they're not in the list of people that I gave you, then it's something older than this world. Something that would have followed her from before I knew her.
She didn't have an accent, did she?
No, I didn't really produce one, but that was partially laziness on myself and not wanting to accent her.
Learn a new accent,
and
yeah.
she's 1,000 years old, so she didn't really, she taught herself to not speak with one.
To not yet. Yeah, I was just curious. Like, yeah, okay, so she's definitely old enough to have imported over from somewhere else instead of being American, then.
Right.
Right. Okay.
Since America's not a millennium old, yeah.
Not of this culture.
Yeah, she's from the old world. From across
Transylvania.
Yeah, maybe somewhere over there, near Romania. Okay.
May we keep this?
Oh yes, that's for you. There's a combination of jilted lovers, betrayed business partners, and, well, one outright enemy of hers.
Is there anything not in the list you might be willing to tell us that might help?
Well, if I had kept something out, that wouldn't be doing my job, and it would be doing the lady a disservice. I suppose I can answer any questions you might come across that you think I might know. I do have eyes and ears all over the city, more or less.
That might be quite useful. Do you mind if we take a minute to look over here in your office?
No, go ahead. Stay as long as you need. Well, I mean,
Thank
don't
you.
stay too long. Obviously, the matter is something urgent.
All right, let's get to it.
Oh, actually, how well do you know your way around the city's streets and, well, or street people, I should say?
I not so well to confess. I am new to the city and really the country as a whole.
Okay then. Perhaps I can help you in another way.
Yes?
Let me find out where I put him.
Mm-hmm.
I put him somewhere.
A map. Bob the Skull
Did I misplace
gives a
him?
tour around the city.
Oh no.
What's up?
Looks like I lost something in copy paste, I guess.
Oh no.
Oh no.
Anyway, he says there is an individual, someone that could help you. I believe he goes by Oz.
Is he from down under?
Well, it's funny that you would say that.
Because he is.
He's from very far under.
How interesting.
He likes to frequent the Street Cat.
Is that like a jazz place or a...
It's a bit of a dive of a bar and a jazz place at best. So all places are jazz places these days.
Jazz is big, what can you say? And so you think if we to find him at the Street Cat, he might give us a hand?
Dang.
Really lost it, huh?
Yeah.
Damn.
Alright, give me 1 second.
No.
Because... doesn't... I can get an older version, right?